Hello, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021. I do hope it's going to be a far better year for all of us, not just those in and around sport, but for absolutely everybody in time. We've got more of the same to put up with to start with. And I'm pretty sure I'm talking this morning and welcoming our first guest of 2021. I'm sure I'm addressing a caged lion who can't wait to escape this captivity. But he's got something to celebrate, as we have, in welcoming to the show a guy who featured prominently and rightly in the New Year's honours list. I refer to Curtis Woodhouse BEM. Hello, Curtis. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Good morning, mate.
Good morning to you. This will be good evening when it goes out. But
okay.
We're kind of standing on our heads at the moment. Everybody is. But the British Empire...
You dragged me out of bed at 9:30 in the morning. I'd much rather do this later on at night.
I think I probably would as well, to be honest. Yeah, but we're talking now at this sort of rude awakening time of day. How much of an awakening was it for you when you got that letter? I presume the news arrived by letter and it dropped on you. Tell me the circumstances of that and how you felt.
Well, it was actually an email which made me believe that someone's pulling my leg a little bit here. I got an email, and I don't know if you've had the same, but I've had so many dodgy emails during these lockdowns of, I actually got a text yesterday saying I had a tax rebate. I just needed to open this email and send over some information. And I've had so many of them, and I just thought it was going to be one of those. So the email had basically said, congratulations, you've been awarded a British Empire Medal by Her Majesty the Queen to confirm that you want to receive this medal, ring this number. So I was like, here we go. I was expecting someone on the other end of the phone asking for my sort code and bank details. And so I rang the number and I spoke to this really lovely lady who basically was saying, like, couldn't find my name anywhere. And I was like, God, this is so embarrassing. Somebody's laughing their head off at me. And then she says, oh, yeah, sorry, Curtis, you're here down at the bottom. So whether it's alphabetical order or not, I don't know. And she said, yeah, congratulations. You to receive the British Empire Medal. I had that phone call about 2 weeks ago, but you're not allowed to say anything until it's formally announced.
Yeah, give me the number. Can anybody just ring her? Anyway,
yeah.
Look, that fortnight before it was formally announced, just how difficult a time. You must have been bursting to tell the world.
I told plenty of people,
including me. Yeah.
Alan, I've been breaking the rules for 40 years, so 2 more weeks won't do no any harm. But yeah, listen, I told a few people anyway. I told my family and people like that. So I didn't keep it a complete secret. I can't. I've got too big a mouth.
Well, I'm honoured that you actually told me and tipped me off, and then I had to keep quiet as well, didn't I? So I'm probably better at keeping quiet than you are. But seriously. Services to football and boxing, I'd imagine, I think I'm on safe ground here, that I don't think anybody else has ever been honoured for services to football and boxing. It's unique.
Yeah, no, I don't believe so. I don't, like I said, there's not many people that have kind of been on the journey that I've been on. And it was a real... I'm quite a laid back person, just take things in my stride. But this, I must admit, it did knock me sideways a little bit, because of such a long, hard journey I've been on, to be honest. And to have this recognition from Her Majesty the Queen was something that really, blew me away, to be honest. And I always say me winning the British title will always be the best thing I ever achieved, because it was so outlandish, really. But yeah, definitely being recognised by the Queen with a British Embassy medal was definitely right up there, if not above it. So yeah, I can't wait to go meet the Queen. We get to go to Buckingham Palace and go to a garden party and everything, and it's just going to be quite surreal. My clan turning up there at Buckingham Palace, she better, anything that's worth nicking, she better get it nailed down, because they'll be after that good china and everything. Their pockets will be full. So it's going to be surreal as lot turning up at Buckingham Palace.
Tell me when that that is, or when that's scheduled for?
Well, I got a letter saying obviously with COVID everything's a little bit up in the air. But I actually get the medal locally. You get presented with the medal, and then they've penciled in a garden party in the summer at Buckingham Palace where you get to meet all the royalty and everything. So I can't wait. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm like a bit of a kid, really. Like I said, not much really, takes me away because I'm quite a laid back guy. But yeah, definitely meeting the Queen and the royal family will be something that's a little bit out there.
Fantastic. And we're all hoping that by the summer, some degree of normality would have returned. It's in the open air. So, you're one up there. And
Yeah.
let's hope that goes ahead and is a day for you and your family to run amok at the palace. But a proud day. Just before we go on, anybody who doesn't know, and there can't be many, Curtis Woodhouse, aged only 40, has packed an incredible amount into his life. Footballer turned boxing champion, former British light middleweight champion, 29 fights. He might have had flights as well. 29 fights, 22 wins, I think I'm right in saying, 13 knockouts, and football clubs principally including Sheffield United, 1997 to 2001, Birmingham City, followed by Peterborough, Hull, and Grimsby, England under 21 international. It's quite an eventful life. It started at Bramall Lane all those years ago, and a debut at just 17 years of age. Do you have any regrets? I mean, the way your life has turned out, it's been fantastic. It's become unique. But do you ever think, wow, I did have the talent to be, a full England international, for instance?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, without sounding overly arrogant, I played for England under 16s, under 18s, under 21s, and all throughout the age groups. I played with some good players and always kind of felt like I was going to go on and become a full international. My dream was to always play for Liverpool and England. My big hero as a kid growing up was John Barnes. I love John Barnes. I spent so many hours in the garden pretending to be John Barnes playing for England. And that was always a dream. And, I kind of burst on the scene at such a young age at Sheffield United at 17. And it was brilliant. Everything was going in the right direction. And like a lot of young players, I completely lost my way in football. And for so many reasons, I found it difficult to deal with everything that comes with being a professional footballer. Money, that was difficult to deal with. When I made my debut, I think I was earning £42.50. I was still an apprentice at Sheffield United. And then after a few games, all of a sudden I started getting paid a lot of money. And I'd never had any money, always been brought up on a council estate. I didn't have a clue about direct debits, about mortgages, about anything. I remember going to see Kevin McCabe one day nearly in tears, thinking that my bank account had been hacked. And the club got the police in and everything. And I had to go and take my bank statements to the police and show them. And they were looking at me really confused, saying, well, we don't understand what you mean. I'm like, well, I've got all this money going out my account every month. I haven't got a clue where it's going. I don't know who's taking it. And it was my mortgage, my gas, my electric, and just stuff like that. But I didn't have a clue about anything like that. I had no experience of ever dealing with money. When I was a kid growing up, we used to have 50p that you put in the back of the telly, and it gave you 4 hours electricity. So I never knew how to deal with anything outside of that. So to all of a sudden be 17 years of age and be able to buy and get whatever you can. When I first turned up to Sheffield, I didn't own a pair of trainers. I turned up at my digs in a tracksuit and a pair of shoes, and like school shoes type of thing. So my first wage when I was an apprentice, I went and bought myself a pair of trainers. So like I said, all of a sudden to be given an outrageous amount of money, I got a big signing on fee, and I was earning thousands of pounds a week. It blew my mind really, and completely took my eye away from what I was there to do, and that was to play football. All of a sudden, a lot of money opens a hell of a lot of doors for you, and some doors are probably best keeping closed. And I didn't just walk through them. barged my way through every one of them. So yeah, I completely lost my focus, and I didn't have that same drive and same determination. I wasn't in the same condition. You know, I was going out, I was partying a hell of a lot, and my performances quickly evaporated. Yeah, and my career just slowly faded away, to be honest.
You probably lost belief in your career. I mean, you talk about. I mean, you've been no stranger to events off the field, shall we say? You know, you've
Yeah.
had an interesting life in terms of Her Majesty's Police over the years, but you were made captain, and this is what people might find extraordinary looking back. And I don't know whether you find it extraordinary. You know, people look for responsible individuals and leaders as captains, and
Yeah.
Sheffield made you skipper at 19. So they must have seen somebody that was going to mentally get it right.
I've always been a leader. I've always been a bit of a one man wrecking machine, for want of a better phrase. You know, I've always been a leader. But I must admit, every team I've played for, I've captained. Apart from Birmingham City, I captained Sheffield United, captained Peterborough, captained Hull City. Every team I've been at, I've captained. I've always been a leader, but I must admit, I've not often been a positive influence on people around me. You know, but why people made me captain is probably because of the way I played. You know, I'd tackle, I'd fight, I'd scrap for everything. That was kind of my game. So that's probably why people made me captain. But at a young age, I definitely wasn't a positive influence. That just wasn't in my makeup at such a young age. I was struggling to kind of deal with myself, never mind deal with everything else. But yeah, you know, I'm still Sheffield United's youngest ever captain. I'm still Sheffield United's youngest ever player of the year. I think I won the player of the year, 18 years of age, which, you know, I don't think that record will be broke for quite some time.
I've got a feeling.
So yeah, they're two things that I'm really proud of. But I've got to be honest. I very rarely talk about my football career because I don't really have many things, you know, that stand out as great achievements, because I'm just somebody who massively underachieved with the ability that I had. Like there's loads of people with stories like mine, you know, that struggle with everything that comes with football, but mine's different because I never actually gave up on myself. You know, I changed sport and believed I could achieve in anything, because I've always been one of them. I understand how you achieve in something. You have to absolutely dedicate your life to it. And it doesn't matter what it is, it could be anything. If you're willing to dedicate your life to it, you've got a chance of succeeding. So I knew if I was to walk away from football, which I knew I wanted to do at a very young age, probably after a few months at Birmingham City, I realised that my career was done. But I didn't have a clue what else to do. I was only 21 years of age, but I knew whatever it was. It could have been anything. Could have been darts, tennis, anything. But I was fortunate to bump into Gary Daru, who was a real good influence on me, who basically got me on the boxing journey. But it could have been anything. You know, as long as you dedicated my life to it, I knew I'd be successful.
Yeah, you were 27 when you turned your back on
26.
26. Okay.
Yeah.
For the first time, I know you came back to play again at a lower level later, but you say
Yeah.
you didn't achieve, but you did play in the Premier League. I think you made 3 appearances for Birmingham at that level. Does that not give you some pride?
Not really. It's the equivalent to probably Ricky Hatton winning the British title. You know, he wouldn't really look back at thinking it was a great achievement when he went on to win 3 world titles or whatever. You know, even though I played in the Premier League 3 times and on paper my career looks quite a good one, it was not what it should have been. So yeah, that's why, you know, I believe I always thought, like I said, I was going to play for Liverpool and England. I always thought that was going to be my journey in football. And as I've got older, what I've actually realised is that at such a young age, I was such a bad influence on myself and people around me. It took me a long time to kind of find my way within myself. At 26 years of age, I'd been arrested 19 times. And at 26 years of age, I became a professional fighter. And I think I've had a parking ticket. I think I've had 1 since that day, you know. And what I've realized is my strength is actually working with people. And that's why I believe what I'm going to achieve in football management is actually going to be my football calling. I always thought it was going to be playing, but obviously it wasn't. But I always knew I was going to achieve something really good in football, and I believe now it's going to be in football management, because I realised over time that my strength is people, and yeah, so that's the journey I'm on now.
Yeah, let's get into that. I mean, something of a poacher turned gamekeeper as a football manager.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they can be the best managers, you know, and you know, you say you're a bad influence on people, but you can isolate those people, you can recognise those people, and try and straighten them out for the betterment of the team. I'm guessing.
Yeah, when I say bad influence, I don't mean anything drastic. I just meant I was quite selfish as a person, you know, and would be one of them that would take my frustrations out on people around me. You know, looking at it now on the management, I wouldn't have picked myself to be a captain, because of them reasons. But I think sometimes when you've been through everything I've been through and come out the other side still being really successful, I think it gives you something that nobody else has got, because nobody else has walked my path. You know, to walk away from professional football at 26 and go into a completely different sport, the hardest sport on the planet, you know, to go and provide for your family by getting punched in the face in a sport that you've never ever done before is, you know, crazy to say the least. And that's something that I did, and I had to go through hell, ridiculed at every step along the way, you know, by the boxing fraternity. You know, when I used to go and spar in gyms, the queue was out the door and round the corner for people to spar with me, and everybody used to beat me up for probably 2 or 3 years, and then slowly but surely I started getting better and better, and obviously it led me to becoming the British champion. But I think what I've showed in my sporting career is perseverance, and the one thing that I'm most proud about of all of it is there's so many people that kind of wrote me off, but I never gave up on myself. You know, and that's the main message I want to, you know, send out. I work a lot in schools now with young kids that are from similar backgrounds to myself, you know, and I kind of look where their lives are heading, where mine was heading, you know, in and out of police cells and things like that. And the main thing is, once you give up on yourself, it's game over, because you've got no self-respect or anything. But, you know, I never did. I always kept believing that I had something great in me. And like I said, I always thought it was going to be football. But my great achievement was going from football to boxing and winning the British light welterweight title. My next one is I want to win the FA Cup. That's what I want to do. And, you know, I know it's a little bit out there, sat here as the Gainsborough Trinity manager saying he wants to win the FA Cup. But I did say I wanted to be the British light welterweight champion when I was playing for Grimsby Town. So I am one to make quite outlandish statements. But yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go and win the FA Cup as a manager.
I'm delighted to hear somebody say that at whatever level, because the FA Cup has been badly diminished, and top managers no longer seem to be interested in winning the FA Cup. And I'm glad you see some glamour still in it. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, the FA Cup to me is huge. I love it, you know, and I agree. It's so far down the pecking order now because the financial money isn't there what it used to be for winning the FA Cup. But, you know, like everybody my age, you know, I remember sat down. The FA Cup used to start at like 10 o'clock in the morning. The build-up, you used to see them all coming in, there's suits and all things like that. You know, the FA Cup to me is still, you know, an amazing thing. And I hope one day it comes back to being appreciated by the rest of football, because yeah, it's a special tournament, a special trophy, and because now I'm managing at non-league, it means so much to the non-league clubs, because it's kind of our only way of getting any income into the club. And you know, I think you know, Marine playing Tottenham in the next round, you know, I think that's next week, is it? I just think that just shows, you know, how massive it is to non-league clubs. I just think that's such a great tie. Jose Mourinho turning up to Marine. And I've been to Marine before with Tadcaster Albion. He'll get a rude awakening, will Jose? So, yeah, I love that tie. I love the FA Cup. And like I said, it's probably a 1 million to 1 shot, but it gives me something to focus on, you know, and that's what I want to do as a manager, go and try and win the FA Cup. And then, yeah, I think that might put a full stop on it.
Right. To win the FA Cup, you might not do it with Gainsborough Trinity. Can I just sort of break that to you very gently?
Well,
But
we lost this year in the first round to AFC Mansfield, so I think you might be right with that one.
well, let's have a look at your management. Obviously, in part two, we'll expand on the boxing and your achievements and what's driven you. But in terms of management, I mean, you've done a fair old apprenticeship already. I'm looking at the club you have managed: Sheffield FC, historic club, of course, Goole Town, Hull United, Bridlington Town, Tadcaster, and now Gainsborough. It's got to be a National League or Football League next, hasn't it?
Well, I think what football taught me and what boxing taught me and life in general is, if you want to be successful at something, you have to do an apprenticeship. You have to learn what you're doing. My first job was Sheffield FC, and I've got to admit, I was useless. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but it intrigued me. You know, I wanted to get better. I didn't know any players at that level. And it was a real struggle. And then moving on from there, I went away and did my coaching badges. You know, I'm as qualified as I possibly can be. And as time's gone on and the jobs have gone on, I've got better and better and better. And the results, you know, have spoke for themselves. Won some silverware. And yeah, you know, I want to manage in the Football League. And I'm now more than ready to do that, you know, and I think that will be my logical next step. The only thing is kind of getting an opportunity. But I'm very, very lucky that I've got a great job at Gainsborough Trinity. You know, I've got a fantastic chairman who backs me 100% and just kind of leaves me to it within reason and lets me do it how I want to do it. And, you know, when I first took the job, the club was second from bottom. And we broke, I think it was a 126-year record for away wins or undefeated away from home. And we ended up finishing 10th before we went into lockdown. And I think we could have squeezed in the playoffs if we hadn't have gone into lockdown. And then, I mean, this season's been a nightmare. We had our squad completely ripped apart, and we're sat just 3 points away from the playoffs now. So, yeah, I think, you know, I'm not here to blow my own trumpet, but I think the jobs that I've done in management speak for themselves. And, you know, I've been linked to quite a lot of jobs recently. And yeah, I'm more than ready for that next step. Like I said, it's just all about getting the opportunity at the right club. I have actually spoke to a League Two club in the last, I think, it was 6 months, but it just wasn't quite the right opportunity for me. You know, behind the scenes, the club was a little bit of a mess. And I understand when you first go into the Football League, it has to be a job that suits, because you don't get second chances. You have to go and be successful. And I kind of just felt it wasn't the right move for me. And I decided to stay at Gainsborough Trinity. And yeah, you know, the chairman's great. He knows what my ambitions are. And the only way I'll get an opportunity is if I do a good job for Gainsborough. So it's win-win for everybody. But I do believe my destiny will be to be a successful league manager.
And how do you think that Football League chairmen see you? Are they a little bit wary, perhaps? I mean, you're a different animal. You know, you admit yourself, you've had your scrapes. You've been a champion boxer. Your football career drifted off. You're quite outspoken on social media. You deal with trolls superbly, may I say, absolutely superbly. I totally applaud that. But is there a hesitation there? Do you sense in some of them, what am I taking on here? How will this work out? How do you see it yourself?
Yeah, I think that, and I think that's a reasonable thing to think, you know, and I believe that they would be that because of what I've done in my life. It is funny how sometimes people do perceive you. I meet so many people and like, oh God, you're nothing at all what I thought you were going to be like. First thing they say is, God, I didn't realize you were that small. but I'm not actually. I'm quite I wouldn't say I was a shy person, but I'm quite reserved when you meet me in person. But one thing I always think is results speak louder than anything. You know, results will get you through the door, and results will get you out the door as well. So, and whenever I get to sit in front of people, you know, I hope I don't have to be in a position where I really have to sell myself. I'm hoping that I'm there because my results have spoken, you know, quite highly. And I know once I get an opportunity, the rest will be history. You know, I look at someone like Chris Wilder, you know, and where he started from and how he started. You know, it'd been the same for him. You know, people, God, this young manager only ever managed in non-league. I remember when he got Sheffield United into the Championship, you know, and all the Sheffield Wednesday fans were saying, God, you've got a manager who's never managed in the Championship. You'll be getting relegated. 12 months later, they're in the Premier League. So, and you look at all the managers. You look at Jose Mourinho going to Man United. The good times are going to be back at Man United, and he couldn't do the job for whatever reason. So there's no certainties in football management, none whatsoever. Whether you are Jose Mourinho or a former professional boxer, there's none. So, like I always say, results always speak the loudest. And I think over probably the last 7 or 8 years now, well, 5 or 6 years, I think my results have been speaking for themselves, and that's why, you know, I'll get linked to quite a lot of jobs, and I just think it's only a matter of time before the right one comes along, and I think once it does, like I said, I think the rest will then be history.
And so you should get linked. I said quite recently I'd have been more than happy to have you at my club, Chesterfield. Having said that, I'm more than happy with James Rowe and the way that he started. Not sure even you could have topped that, but
he's not doing bad, is he? They've had a cracking start, and I said, you know, I'd be interested in the Chesterfield job as long as they brought Zanzibar's back. But when they didn't bring that back, I was out the running. But no, on a serious note, it's a great club, is Chesterfield, you know, and I kind of, you know, I knew that whoever was to go in there had an opportunity to make a really, really big impact. And yeah, he's done a cracking job. And you look at the league now and you think, could they sneak in the playoffs? And, you know, all of a sudden it looks a hell of a lot rosier. So yeah, I'm really happy with Chesterfield. Like I said, a cracking club. I've actually done a motivational speaking assignment there a couple of years ago. Yeah, and it's a cracking football club. So I'm really happy to see them doing well.
And so say all of us. Well, that's brilliant for part one. We're going to spar with you a little bit on your boxing career in part two. If we may, James Gregg will join us to talk about other things that are happening in the sporting scene. Not as many as we would like, but hope you can rejoin us, Curtis, and everybody else. Thank you for watching. We'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. See you then.